Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and what a happy Wednesday it has been. How good does it feel to be waking up with 3 points after last night, particularly with how unexpected it is? Welcome to the Talking Town Away Day Guide. I've been really enjoying filming these lately, so thank you so much to everyone who has given such positive feedback. Away days are my passion. I love them. They are my favourite thing. I think I'm still on a bit of a come down from the amazing weekend away in Cambridge, which was slightly ruined by the football game as always, but yes, I'm really grateful to everybody who said they're enjoying watching the shows, so thank you. Just me today, me and Neill. So Martin has taken a step back tonight, so we are sending best wishes to him and his family tonight, and I am proud, if slightly nervous, to be stepping into his shoes, which are big ones to fill. No offense meant by that, Martin, and I think it might be leaving maybe a bit of a relief for the audience, because both Martin and I are eating a little bit of humble pie after last night's game, having complained, I think complained is a little harsh, but having expressed our doubts about Mr. Cook over the weekend. So yeah, maybe you're better off having only one Cook doubter on today's show, unless Neill is in that camp. So Neill has joined me. For those of you who watch the show regularly, you will recognise Neill. He is our he's appeared in lots and lots of shows in the past, and we called on him tonight because we are going to be looking ahead to the Plymouth away game. It's next Saturday, which is the 30th. I can't believe we're already thinking about the end of October. So Neill, thank you so much for stepping in tonight and hopefully giving me a little bit of local knowledge to share with everybody.
Yeah, nice to be on, Amy. Thank you.
Anytime. So do you want to tell everybody a bit about yourself? You were saying that you spent a lot of time down in Plymouth in that direction.
Yeah, Plymouth is where I'm from, obviously. I spent nearly 25 years there before I moved away to Dorset. Yeah, I used to watch Plymouth quite a lot as a kid with my best mate and his dad. We used to go away to matches there and watch them at home park. Went to there quite a few times over the years, so and obviously watched Ipswich play there on 3 or 4 occasions as well. So
Brilliant. And you've got some stories to share from over the years, which I'm really looking forward to hearing later on. If you are watching, please do drop in the comments any games that you have been to, any memories you've got. Most importantly, any tips you've got. You do know that my favourite part of this show is thinking about which pubs we're going to go to. So let us know in the comments anything that you can share with us that will help everybody who's watching. Nick Muller has just asked, when did we last play there? So I was checking. In fact, we'll come back to that in a little bit, because I just wanted to put last night to bed, but in a good way. We obviously absolutely battered Portsmouth last night, which I wasn't expecting at all personally after the performance on Saturday against Cambridge, which was such a disappointment. But the yesterday, I think, proved what this team is capable of. What was your response when you saw how we were getting on last night, Neill?
yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it? I would never have, I thought well, to be honest, if I was totally honest with you, Amy, I spoke to Martin and we were talking about the next period of 5 games up to Plymouth. And I sort of said 10 points minimum, really. And I did actually put us down. I thought we'd lose at Pompey. So, I mean, that's an added bonus, really. So that's what, 7 points out of 9, with a couple games still to play. So we're certainly on course for that. I'd expect us to win Saturday. So that would put us up to 10. And then it's all going into the Plymouth game. But yeah, fantastic. To win 4-0 there. People, it's like what happened. I think someone said the other week, sometimes, the other team are really bad. But sometimes it's how you play, isn't it? To make teams look bad. It's not necessarily that they're always bad. We play that well, and it just makes the other team look, that they're off their game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well the style that the other team play, like Cambridge on Saturday, they marked, the main one was they marked Macaulay Bonne out of the game. He had absolutely no sight of the ball most of the game. But they were a lot more physical and a lot more sort of like bullies. And we don't really respond well to that, I don't think.
No,
Whereas apparently last night, I think we stood our ground and said, no, this is us tonight. So yeah, feeling good. And you are absolutely right. I think Saturday, the game against Fleetwood at home, checked out the table after last night, which is always nice when we've added 3 points to the board. But obviously Fleetwood are right down near the bottom, aren't they, in 20th?
Yeah, right down, yeah.
So you'd like to think that's, I mean, I don't like it when we get cocky, but you'd like to think that's got to be 3 points in the bag, hasn't it? I think it's fair to
You think
expect
so?
that.
I mean, it'd be disappointing not to kick on, wouldn't it? You know, especially after last night, really. If we couldn't kick on, it'd be really disappointing, I think. I think we are showing improvement for certain, and we do seem to be clicking. I think as long as we can make sure the defensive line, we've got more than enough to hurt any team, haven't we, in this league going forward?
Yes, quite agree. And I think we proved that last night, didn't we? Absolutely. And that actually what you've just said reflects on what Cook said last night after the game, which is we have set the standard now and it can't dip. That was his quote from the interview that I picked out. So I think yes, Mr. Cook, we all agree. Now it's your job to make sure you make it come true. We just one final bit of news that I wanted to touch on from today is that Connor Chaplin was picked as part of the League One team, of Team of the Week today. So that's quite exciting. 4 goals in 6. I thought he was one of only 2 players worth mentioning on Saturday. I thought he was really good. Actually, I was quite impressed by him. So pleased to see that. But moving on, obviously, as you say, we get 3 points. When we get 3 points on Saturday, we then look to go to Plymouth. Forgotten which club we were talking about. I've spent all day looking at it. Moving on to Plymouth, another long trip down to the south coast, and obviously Plymouth have had a brilliant start to the season. Not really a team I was expecting to see top of the league. Perhaps that was a bit ignorant of me. Are they? Do you have any sort of friends who go and still? Does your friend still go and watch them?
Yeah, my best friend, his team's Man United. He lives in Plymouth, but he watches Plymouth a lot. And I've got other friends that'll go and support Plymouth as well that I know down there. Yeah, so it'll probably be quite a vocal game. I mean, their fans really get behind them a lot. They really do get behind them. I know Colin, from what I've heard on some of the chats, I know he's tipped Plymouth as a dark horse, hasn't he, this season? I don't know if you saw the game last night, though, Amy. I mean, if it's like that, will we even play in 2 weeks? Did you see the conditions?
Oh gosh, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? I
Yeah,
saw the video go around on social
yeah,
media, and I was like, "What? How could that have carried on?" So, for anybody who
yeah. I
hasn't
know.
seen it, I think it is on my Twitter timeline. I'm sure I retweeted it. The game Plymouth beat Bolton 3-0.
3-0.
And the ball literally, when they kick it, it doesn't get further than 2 meters away, does it? Because it can't
No.
move for the waterlogged pitch. And the third goal is just
Oh, the third
hilarious.
goal. Yeah, it's comical. Someone goes to hit it, and then I think someone else, and then it falls to someone else, doesn't it?
Because it just
I mean,
can't move.
I messaged my friend today, and I said to him how that game was not about. He was there last night with his young son, and I said how that wasn't abandoned. I'll never know, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy that it was allowed to go ahead, but yes, you are right. Let's hope that those conditions aren't the same when we head down there. The south coast. My parents live down in St Austell, and they could testament for the fact that when it decides to rain down there, it really buckets
Absolutely,
it, doesn't it?
it really does. Yeah. If I
And
know anything from the time I was there, when, like you've just said, when it rains, it really does rain down there.
yeah, it's so let's hope that, I think as fans, I think we've had enough wet weather to have to deal with. Hopefully you guys will get a catch maybe a little bit of the autumn sun before we head into November. So looking back at previous games at Hope Park, blur. falling
Home.
over my words. Home. You can tell I'm nervous tonight. Right. Looking back at previous games, last season, we actually did the double over them. Perhaps that was why I wasn't expecting to see them doing so well this year. So thank you, Martin. They are, we drew at home. I'm looking at it backwards. I was like, that's not what I looked at earlier. Right. So we beat them in March and we beat them in December away and at home. The home game, I think, was 2-1. Hold on. I've got my notes in the way and I can't move them. The away game was 2-1 and they had a player sent off. That was Nolan and Caden Jackson, I believe, who scored for that one. In that game, and then we beat them at home in March and Parrott scored in the 4th minute. What I found interesting, although I suppose it goes without saying nowadays, is that those 2 matches last season, the only player in that game, in those 2 games, who is likely to appear next Saturday is Toto Nsiala. So everybody else has moved on. So that was quite an interesting point and a sign of what this year has done to us, really. But yeah, so the previous to that, the game before those 2 wins over them last year was back in 2010. I was a new graduate back then. In fact, I think I was probably working for Town 102 down in Ipswich. But so that is our record against them over the more recent years. But you've obviously got memories going much further back than that. Tell us, Neill, about your memories from there.
Well, I know when we, I don't know if I think my stats are right here. As far as I know, over the years, I take it this must be home and away. I think we played them 48 times. We've won 22 of them, drawn 15 and lost 11 by my reckoning. But as you say, we went a period of years when we never played them, didn't we, for a while?
Yeah.
As far as my recollections go, as I was saying to you earlier, but I can't. I'm sure Martin or I'm sure Colin will have a better idea than me. I was there that night, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it was the late 80s. Maybe Colin can let me know. I think it was Kevin Wilson, the striker, who played along with I think it was Mitch Davere, Zondervan, that sort of time. And I think we either won 1-0 or it was 1-1. I remember being quite high up in the stands that night. I was just in my teenage years, and I remember that game. That was quite a cold, horrible sort of evening. But more sort of recently, the 2 games that I went to that sort of stand out. One was you might remember this as well, Amy. One was in 2006 when we drew 1-1. I was there that day, and Sovan Legvinsky scored the goal.
Oh, brilliant!
In 2006, and actually that day, Gary Roberts was one of the subs for us that day.
Oh, wow!
He was on the subs bench. Don't really know too much more about that game there. And then in 2008, I remember going with my oldest boy. He's in Southampton now studying art and things, but he's gone to none of my kids are really that sporty, but he's gone to watch Ipswich 4 times with me, and they've never lost in those 4 times.
Oh, get him going more often.
But he went with me again. It was in October. Whether that's the lucky thing or not, I don't know. Both of those games were in October. The real ones I remember. This was 2008, which I'm sure you'd remember as well. And we won 3-1. Owen Garvin scored 2, and
Owen.
Kevin Lisby scored 1 as well that day.
Gosh, there's the name.
I think we were 3-0 up. We scored 3 goals, I think, from the 28th to the 48th minute.
Nice.
I think the only real blot on the copybook was Norris got sent off for us in the 90th minute, I think it was. And yeah, there was a couple of interesting players that day. We had, was it Moritz Votes was playing at right back that day. And,
wow.
I'm probably not going to say this name right. Vilis Similakovsky or something. He played in midfield.
Yeah.
That was 2 of the names that played that day. That was brilliant. Garvin scored a fantastic. One of his goals was a brilliant goal. Yeah, that was a real. They were the real sort of standouts that I remember. I think I have gone. I probably have watched Ipswich another time as well. Can't quite recollect it, but yeah, I've certainly been 3 or 4 times to watch Town play there.
I'll have to see if I can look up that Owen Garvin goal, and I'll tweet it for people to see, because that'd be I'd be definitely interested in watching that one back.
Yeah, I thought it was a good go. I thought.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing those. Ant, my lovely Ant, who is heading down to Plymouth as he does most games. I think you've not missed any yet so far this season, have you, mate? Ant's heading down for the Plymouth game and then staying over, and as you do when you're travelling that far, for the ladies' game the next day, which is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Anthony. So anyone who's travelling down and making a weekend of it, you might like to go and see the ladies playing the next morning, which sounds like a good idea to me. But Ant's also shared that in 2010, I spotted this game but didn't know this detail. So thank you for telling us, Ant. I spotted it because this was on my birthday, the 23rd of March in 2010. Paul Mariner was in charge of Plymouth that day. He threw his coat into the crowd with his glasses still in his pocket. So well remembered, Ant. But that brings me on to the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is we have a few players who have played for both Plymouth and Ipswich. Now, I've picked out 4 of them, the most obvious one being Paul Mariner. But there are 3 others that I've picked out. So to give you a hint, they're sort of my generation of going. So since they all played for us in the noughties and much later. But yeah, so I've got 3 players that I found that played for both Plymouth and Ipswich, and I'd love you to let me know in the comments if you think you can pick those 3 out. I reckon you'll get 2 of them straight away. Because you know me so well. But anyway, that's so we had 3 players, but obviously Paul Mariner is the main one. Very, very fond. Obviously, we're all very fond of him, but so are the Plymouth fans. So expect there to be lots of fuss around him. And when I was Googling him earlier, I saw that when we signed him from Plymouth, it was for £220,000, which was the club record at the time. I wonder how much Paul Mariner would be worth nowadays. What do you reckon, Neill?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? When you look at the sort of sums of money people are talking, and I sometimes have conversations with my friend, and you have to be honest. I mean, realistically, no player, in my opinion, no player is even worth £1 million, are they? No matter who they are, it just shows you how crazy it's got. But yeah, if you put Mariner into sort of these terms, yeah, it'd certainly be getting more than 220,000, wouldn't you? That's for sure.
Oh God, yes, absolutely, yes, definitely.
Okay.
Ant's got the first one, David Norris. Well done, Ant. That was the one. That was the first one I thought of, actually. He won promotion with Plymouth back in 2004, and he was their Player of the Year in 2006 before we bought him in 2008. And one of the more solid midfielders in our past, I reckon.
I think I know one of the players maybe that you're talking about. I'm not sure. It may not have been one of the ones on your list. Can I mention it, or?
Of course, yeah, do go for it.
I can't. I'm probably not going to pronounce his name right. It's was it Horrigan or Hourigan or something? He played for Plymouth, didn't he? Yeah, that's it.
He wasn't on my list, but Rob Smith, who's watching, said Hurricane as well. So
okay,
there we go. That's a great one to pick out. We've also got John Pedalty a long time ago.
Oh yeah, heard of him.
I'm loving these names, and Rob says Jamie Wilson as well. So there's a few. There's clearly a few. James Wilson. So there is a few. Hi Kevin, nice to see you on here. So the other 2 that I picked out, one of them wasn't actually our player. We had him on loan, and he went to Plymouth on loan just before he came to us. He was a goalkeeper, and it was David Stockdale, who he's a Leeds lad. So I think his name always jumps out at me because he lives locally to me when he's up here. I think his family are. Was Alan Judge at both? How did I miss that one?
Yes, Alan Judge definitely played for Plymouth and Ipswich. Yeah, he did. I think they rated him quite highly down there. I think they thought my best friend, he always talks very highly of Judge down when he played for Plymouth.
I think he was far better than he ever showed when he came to us,
For
wasn't
us,
he? I
yeah.
think we just never saw the best of him, sadly.
Yeah.
And then the other player that I picked out was a bit of an old random one, Billy Clark.
William
Played
Clark.
for them.
Yeah.
He was a youngster for us, and he went on much later on in his career. He went there in 2019, went on loan to them back then. So
I'll
those were
tell
the
you
names that,
another. I'll
yeah.
tell you another player as well who's played for both probably in the last period of years was Diagara. You know
Oh, yeah.
the guy who used to play in centre mid. I think it was. He played for both clubs as well.
Yeah. We've clearly
It's
got a
probably
lot of
one of
shared
many. But
We've clearly got a lot of shared history, but as I say, the Paul Mariner link is definitely a special one. And whilst we're on that topic, the Paul Mariner Appreciation Night being held by the Kevin Beattie Foundation will be in Plymouth after the game. So if you're making a weekend of it, you can go and watch us. Probably draw 2-2 with Plymouth. I have no positivity at the moment. Then you could go to the Paul Mariner Appreciation Night with the Kevin Beattie Foundation. And then when you wake up in the morning with a little bit of a sore head, you can let the Ipswich ladies make you feel better and make the journey totally worth your while. I did want to quickly mention Steve on Twitter, who I know watches the show and tweets me quite a lot. And he went last night to the Pompey game. He's also a South Coast West Country fan. And he went last night. He took his daughter to her first ever Ipswich game last night. I'm very, very happy for her that she got to see such an incredible win. And he's spending the week in Devon before he goes. Before they then go, they go to the Plymouth game, and then they're going up to Fleetwood. So they are travelling the country at the moment. But yeah, so Steve, I hope your little girl enjoyed last night. But anyway, so that's like you say, as Martin's just commented, lots of shared history between the clubs, which is nice. But the most important thing is obviously where we are in 2021. So I know both of us have had a little look into the away days guide and things like that, because we wanted to share some tips. But if you're watching at home and you've been to the ground before, do let me know if you have got any tips on what to do with where to go, where to park, where to drink, most importantly. So Neill, tell me what you managed to find out that we can share with everybody.
okay, I'm gonna have to get my piece of paper, Amy, because I'll never remember it all. Right, let me see here. Right, okay. I'm not a massive drinker. I mean, I do have a drink, but I'm not a massive drinker by any stretch. But I would say probably the main pub to go to is the Britannia. It's a Weatherspoons outlet, and it's literally just 10 minutes walk to the ground from there. They are fan friendly, but they don't tolerate away fans singing club songs.
I think that's
That
pretty
was what I
standard for
clearly saw.
Weatherspoons, isn't it?
Yeah, across the road is like an embassy club, sort of like a snookery club, and I did notice that they said warned away fans to stay away from there. I did see that on the away days, but that's one of the main ones of Britannia. A lot of Arvo fans drink there, and that's been there for a number of years, very popular. A couple of others I found was if you go sort of 15 minutes walk away from the ground in the direction of the A38, there's a cherry tree on Ham Drive. And then there's a Hyde Park Social Club on St Gabriel's Avenue. And they open from 11 a.m. for visiting fans. And they show Sky and BT Sports there. They have hot food available. And if you were, say, a coach party, they do cook breakfasts, but they need to be booked in advance. They were sort of the main three pubs, but I'd say certainly the Britannia would be probably the main choice. That's quite near to the ground there, so and very popular that is.
I did see as well that apparently they have a little van outside that sells pasties.
Yes, they do. Yeah, because obviously the Ginsters, and that's their sponsor, and obviously that's the pasties down there, isn't it? Ginsters pasties, and they are very good.
They are that I refuse to eat them anywhere else. I will not eat a Cornish pasty away from the West Country outside of Cornwall personally because they are so much better when you eat them down there to what you get, especially up here in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. I think the Hyde Park Social Club would probably be my choice. That looks like with the sports on, and things like that. I've asked, as I always do ahead of these shows, I've asked on Twitter and Facebook. So keep an eye out for those tweets if you ever have any tips for any upcoming away games. I'd love to share your stories, your memories, your tips on where to go, because I think as Martin always says on these shows, it is really great when we're all in the same place beforehand to start building up that atmosphere and be able to spend time as a community. So if we can share where we're all thinking about going, it's one way of bringing the away day army together. So so I've asked on Twitter and we got a tip about where to park from Chris, which does seem to fit in with what I found out what we both found out on the away days guide. He said there is a great car park outside the ground, but it's not ideal if you need to get away straight after the game because Chris says they cram every car in nose to tail, so it's one of them car parks. But there is also Plymouth Life Centre if anybody's looking for somewhere to park. What I did want to end on, actually, what I did want to ask you, Neill, was also about the ground itself. It's not one I've been able to visit yet. When we played there last year, as I think it was Nick commented earlier, obviously we weren't able to go, and it's so frustrating with my daddy living down there. It's the closest game for him, so it would be a lovely one to be able to get to, and I can't do it this season because I'm in Centre Parks for half term, which will be a nice alternative. But anyway, so I've not been to the ground myself. I'd love to hear from you about what's the ground like. Is it small? Is it big?
Can I just, it's quite big. I've got some bits about it. Do you mind if I just say a couple of bits about the transport?
Of course not. Go for it.
Probably just talking a bit over what you said, but I had
a couple of other things. Skipped that, didn't I?
That's fault. Okay. Like you were saying, I know you said about a bit of this. The one at the ground is obviously free, but they do park and ride. So it's normally it's normally full before 1 o'clock. So you'd have to get in, and it can take up to 30 minutes to exit the game. You've already said that, and I've seen that myself from years gone by. Also, the Life Centre is free, but it's control of the local council. So if you're not parked right in the marked bays, you could get a £75 fine.
Oh gosh, nobody needs that.
Also, there is street parking off Seagrave Road opposite Home Park, or on side roads off the main Outland Road A386. So that's that. The train station, that's only a mile from Home Park, the train station. And you can even walk it in about 20 minutes.
Plymouth, the railway station's really well served, isn't it? You can get there from...
Yes, definitely.
You can get there really easily from places like London and Birmingham.
Definitely. I mean, the last thing I had written down on that was by car. If you were travelling to the stadium, it's PO23DQ postcode. It's well signposted from the A38. And probably got a lot of stuff. A bit of a stato here. No, I'm not meaning to be. Sorry. Approaching from the east exit, the A38 at Manadon roundabout, and then you take the second exit towards the city centre. Remain on Outland Road for around 1.5 miles, so say 15 minutes on a busy match day, and then Home Park should come up in view on the left hand side. Take the next left and you'll arrive at the stadium car park.
Wonderful, love it, amazing. That will be very helpful for anyone who hasn't been yet.
As you were saying about the stadium, it's I think, unless I'm wrong, I think it opened in 1901. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes since then. I think the capacity now is 18,600. Amy, I think.
Gosh, it's pretty big then, isn't it?
It's a nice stadium in there. It's really nice. It is.
I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's pictures from it. I think that will be should be a lovely trip for everybody. Thank you everybody who's sharing comments in the comments. I've just seen a couple that I really wanted to read out actually from where did it go? from Kokomoa, whose first game they saw Town live in was similar weather to last night, but they went to Plymouth in 1986, arrived so early that the car park hadn't even opened, and they've said that I got Nigel Gleghorn's autograph when Town arrived for their game in October 1986. So I love it. I love hearing all these stories. I think that's what you want out of an away day, is to come away with memories. Cambridge may have been an awful time inside the ground, but walking to it was lots of fun. Getting our feet stuck in the cattle grids and things like that was and dodging bicycles the whole day. My friend lives up in Lancashire and he couldn't believe how many bicycles there were, but that's standard for Cambridge. Anyway, we were talking about Plymouth and not Cambridge. I think we've covered everything that we wanted to.
Can I just say something else, Amy? I just put something else down. It might not mean much, just a couple of things. Just to say the programme is called The Pilgrim and it's £3.
Brilliant.
And also, just one other thing, it's probably a little bit of history here, probably more to do with Plymouth, but tradition, normally they come out, I don't know if this has changed, I think they were coming out to different music. They used to come out to the Royal, because obviously it's quite a naval place, so they used to come out to the Royal Marines tune of Semper Fidelis. I think that's probably not how you say it, but and also Home Park is the most westerly and southerly league ground in England. It is.
I was trying to work out my geography earlier, whether Ipswich or Norwich is further east. And I was trying to work out, are they the two furthest grounds apart widthways? If Plymouth is the furthest westerly, which one of us is furthest easterly? But yeah, it's a fair old journey for everybody, and I'm guessing about 5-6 hours or something from Ipswich. It's I don't envy you, but I hope
so.
That, isn't it? I do hope that everybody who's going, firstly and most importantly, has a safe journey, and also that you get more of a Portsmouth performance than a Cambridge one. Obviously, as has been said in the comments, we have Fleetwood to come up, so looking forward to this week's Talking Town shows about that. I shall be keeping my eye out for those, and I will be joining Martin on Saturday for the shows, so really looking forward to watching us again, having decided that on Cambridge that I was never going to watch us again. No, I'm kidding, I would never do that, but I was tempted. So a huge thank you to you, Neill, for joining me tonight, and to everyone who's joined us live as well. It's been really exciting to see all the comments coming in, and this has been it's been fun being a temporary sub for Martin, but the Gov will be back in his rightful place in the first team back on Saturday. In the meantime, if you are over on Twitter, do check out the Talking Town account. There is a FIFA 22 game up for grabs. I've seen lots of superb prizes going out to Ipswich fans lately, including a keg of beer from the Away Days beers guy, which went to my friend Ant, who's taking it down to the Plymouth game, funnily enough. So they're gonna have great fun on that day. But yeah, there's so do pop over and check that out and enter into that competition, and do follow us and over there on social media and subscribe to watch more of the shows and come and see us later on in the week. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm going to go and I'm going to go get some dinner and let my nerves calm.
Just one thing, Amy, before I go, because you're going any second now. I just wanted to just say a couple of words, really. I obviously live sort of in Somerset at the moment, so obviously don't get to many Ipswich games. I've only ever watched them once at Portman Road. I've been to away grounds. Obviously, I don't really know. Really, I've been in the Ipswich end a few times. Don't know really any Ipswich supporters until obviously I've started coming on the podcast, and now I know some people by sight. I had a really lovely chat with Matt Stannard, just such a lovely guy. I must say that, such a top bloke, who purchased me a ticket. There's been a lot's gone on over the last year. Obviously, we all care about our football, don't we? But there's so much more in life that's more important, obviously, and puts things into perspective. But no, I'm going to meet up with him. I think we're going to have breakfast and things, and meet his children and stuff. He's staying in a hotel down there. So that would be nice to see him and get to know him, because I don't really know any Ipswich fans when you're sort of in there. Might meet up with Colin as well, possibly at the ground. So it'll be nice to put some faces, pictures to the faces, and get to know a few fans. So especially seeing I'll be in the away end. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, how lovely, and what a perfect way to end the show. I completely concur, having met so many myself on Saturday. It was including Colin, which was really lovely. Yeah, I completely concur. This show has brought a lot of us together through some tough times in a difficult past couple of years. So thank you. That's really sweet of you to say. Good night from me. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you all soon.